So from this, equation for GM is twice IDSS upon mod of VP 1 minus VSG by VP. So in all the values you can find the value of GM. Twice IDSS is given as 8 milliamperes, VP is given as 4, we have got VSG as 1.17 and VP is given as 4. So this will give you GM as 2.83 milliampere per volt. So you know the value of GM. Now how to draw the AC equivalent circuit? That is given in the question. In this, capacitor CC1 will act as short circuited. Since you have only one capacitor, CC1 will be short circuited. So how the circuit will look like in that case is, you can say the capacitor is shorted, then R1, R2, you have RS, you have RD, and it is connected to output voltage. This is connected to ground, the other terminal will be connected to ground, and here you have plus minus VI. This is your R1, this is your R2. Now in this case, since there was a DC supply over here, it has been replaced by a ground, and here was a capacitor XC1 whose XC is now becoming 0. If it is infinite, it will act as open circuited. So this is how the AC equivalent is made. Now how to draw the small signal equivalent of the circuit? Now you can say this is your gate, drain, this is your source, and this is your drain, this is your source. Now we'll make the 3 lines. You can say you have one line made for the gate, one line made for the source, and one line made for the drain. Now between gate and source you have VSG, between drain and source you have GM into VGS. Now since it is P channel, it will be GM into VSG, then you have RS, then you have RD, the drain resistance. Here you have R1 parallel to R2, and this everything is connected to the ground terminal. In this case we have common source, that is source is grounded, so this becomes your ground point. From here we are taking the output, and here we are applying the input. Now how to cross check? Between gate and ground you have R1 parallel to R2. Just look at this diagram. This is your gate. Between gate and ground you have R1. Between gate and ground you have R2. Right? So this is shown, between gate and ground you have R1 parallel to R2. Similarly for RS, between source and ground you have RS. Look at the diagram. This is your source. So between source and ground you have RS. So it is right. Then between drain and ground you have RD. So between, this is your drain, so drain and ground you have RD. This is how the AC equivalent circuit is drawn. Now question tells us to find the values of R1 and R2, right? So for that, gain is given in the question, so we can find first the expression for gain from this diagram. I can write VO, that is voltage, output voltage. VO can be written as this GM VSG is flowing in this direction, positive negative, we are applying KVL in this direction. So what I can say, VO is GM into VSG into RD. Why? So when you apply KVL, it will be VO minus GM into VSG into RD equals to 0. So when you take this GM minus GM VSG into RD, on the other side you will get VO as this, right? Again, when I am applying KVL, current flowing to the RS is GM into VSG. Since this current is 0, whatever is GM VSG is flowing into the drain. So what I can say is, when I am applying KVL from this point to this point, that is KVL to input, I can say VI minus VSG, then the other current will be GM into VSG, right, into RS. This is the equation. This sign should be, actually this should be, since we are writing VSG, this is the negative part and this is the positive part. This is where we made a mistake in P channel. This becomes negative, this becomes positive. Why? How to identify? See, the positive to negative side, the current flows in this direction. Initially I had written VSG as positive negative, but how to cross check? See the direction of current. Since the current is moving from positive to negative side, this will be negative positive, so this becomes positive, and since we are going in the direction opposite to the flow of current, this will become positive, equals to 0. So what we can say, the final expression for this will be VI equals to minus VSG minus GM VSG into RS.